The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has issued a stark warning. A severe geomagnetic storm is brewing. This comes on the heels of Hurricane Milton, which recently ravaged parts of the United States. The timing couldn't be worse. NOAA has placed its Space Weather Prediction Center on high alert. They warn of potential disruptions to power grids, communication systems, and satellite operations. The storm, classified as a G4, has the potential to escalate to a G5, the highest level on the scale. This is not just about flickering lights or interrupted radio signals. This is about the resilience of our infrastructure during a time of crisis. Imagine emergency responders losing communication during a rescue operation. Picture hospitals struggling to maintain power to life-saving equipment. This is the potential reality a G5 geomagnetic storm could bring. The situation is a stark reminder that we live in a world increasingly reliant on technology, and that technology is vulnerable to the whims of space weather. The question is, are we prepared for the next big solar storm? Imagine the sun, a giant ball of burning gas, unleashing a burst of energy. This energy, in the form of charged particles, hurtles towards Earth at incredible speeds. This is a coronal mass ejection, or CME, the main culprit behind geomagnetic storms. When these charged particles hit Earth's magnetic field, they cause it to fluctuate wildly. It's like hitting a tuning fork and watching it vibrate. These fluctuations are what we call a geomagnetic storm. The severity of a geomagnetic storm is measured on a scale of G1 to G5. G1 storms are relatively minor, like a gentle breeze. G5 storms, however, are the hurricanes of space weather. They can cause widespread blackouts, disrupt GPS systems, and even damage satellites. The impacts of geomagnetic storms are not science fiction. They are a very real threat to our modern way of life. One of the most concerning impacts is the potential for widespread power outages. In 1989, a powerful geomagnetic storm caused a blackout across the entire province of Quebec, Canada. Millions of people were left in the dark for hours. Another major concern is the disruption of communication systems. Geomagnetic storms can interfere with radio signals, particularly high-frequency communications used by airlines and maritime vessels. Imagine a plane losing communication with air traffic control during a storm, or a ship at sea unable to send a distress signal. These are the very real risks posed by severe geomagnetic storms. Section 4. Double Jeopardy: Geomagnetic Storms and Hurricane Recovery. The timing of this geomagnetic storm is particularly concerning given the recent devastation caused by Hurricane Milton. Recovery efforts are already underway, but a severe geomagnetic storm could throw a wrench into these efforts. Imagine emergency responders losing communication just when they need it most. Picture hospitals struggling to maintain power to critical equipment. This is the potential reality a G5 geomagnetic storm could bring. The situation highlights the importance of having backup systems in place, especially for essential services. It also underscores the need for better forecasting and preparedness when it comes to space weather events. Section 5. The sun's temper tantrum, solar maximum, and increased risks. The sun, like any star, has its moods. It goes through periods of relative calm and periods of intense activity. We are currently in a period of increased solar activity known as solar maximum. During solar maximum, the sun is more likely to unleash powerful CMEs, increasing the risk of geomagnetic storms here on Earth. Scientists predict that the current solar cycle will peak in 2025, meaning the risk of severe geomagnetic storms will remain elevated for several years. This means we need to be prepared. We need to invest in resilient infrastructure, improve our forecasting capabilities, and develop strategies to mitigate the impacts of these potentially devastating events. Section 6. Staying ahead of the storm preparedness and future implications. The recent geomagnetic storm warning from NOAA is a wake-up call. We can no longer afford to ignore the threat posed by space weather. The good news is that we are not powerless against this threat. We can invest in research to improve our understanding of space weather. We can develop early warning systems to give us more time to prepare. And we can harden our infrastructure to make it more resilient to the impacts of geomagnetic storms. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear: we need to be prepared for the next big solar storm. Our technological civilization depends on it.